To say that people were blown away by The Matrix when it first came out is a massive understatement. The truth is that people had never seen anything like The Matrix when the film premiered in the spring of 1999. Although sci-fi films have made billions of dollars over the years, there had never been one like this. People were truly left in awe, walking out of the theater hungry for more. From the special effects to the story, The Matrix was filled with unique visuals and moments that stand the test of time. Even all these years later, people still talk about The Matrix, because it is one of the biggest films of its generation. You would think that everyone from The Matrix would have had huge careers after it came out, but is that the case? Did they all go on to bigger and better things? Let's catch up with the cast of The Matrix all these years later. Number 5, Joe Pantoliano.
There was an accident. Goddamn car accident. All of a sudden, boom! Somebody up there still likes me.
Joe Pantoliano was one of the only people who had worked with the Wachowskis before The Matrix, so he was well aware of what they could bring to the big screen. That's why he signed up quickly to be a part of the film, even though he played a character who was morally dubious, to put it best. He might not have had the biggest part in the film, but it's definitely one of the most memorable. Pantoliano is a character actor that had already found a ton of success in the 1990s. Before The Matrix, you might have seen him in NYPD Blue, Congo, or US Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones. He's the sort of performer who's always getting work, and his career after The Matrix has continued to entertain fans. He appeared in many episodes of The Sopranos and The Handler. He also showed up in Christopher Nolan's first film, Memento, alongside Guy Pearce and Matrix co-star Carrie-Anne Moss.
Oh, fuck this. You don't have a clue, you freak.
Pantoliano has been all over the place since then. He was in Daredevil with Ben Affleck, Bad Boys 2, an episode of The Simpsons, SpongeBob SquarePants, and even in Larry the Cable Guy film. In the recent years, Joe has been doing a lot of TV work, and he's also lent his voice to quite a few animated projects too. So, while you might not see him as often, you still hear him many years after The Matrix did so well at the box office. Number 4, Hugo Weaving. It's not often that an actor is able to play a character that's so despicable and so villainous that he's remembered more than 20 years later, but Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith is easily one of the greatest movie bad guys of all time. In the years after The Matrix, you may not have noticed Hugo in a lot of movies, but that's just because he's such a good actor that he blends into every role he takes on. But he actually starred in one of the most successful films of all time, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Hugo's turn as the wise Elrond couldn't have been more different than his work as Agent Smith in The Matrix, which was a true testament to his range. You may have also recognized his voice in V for Vendetta, playing the titular V alongside Natalie Portman. And yeah, that was him playing Noah the Elder in the lovely family film Happy Feet. If you're someone who likes Transformers, then you came to fear Hugo again when he took on the part of Megatron in the first Michael Bay action movie.
Where is the cube? The humans have taken it.
And once again, he made audiences cheer against him when he played the evil Red Skull in the first Captain America movie.
You are deluded, Captain. Pretend to be a simple soldier, but in reality...
Cloud Atlas, Hacksaw Ridge, The Wolfman, these are just some of the many projects that Hugo has been a part of in the years after The Matrix. The man's been working and working hard at playing a number of different types of characters, and yes, several feared villains too. Number 3, Carrie-Anne Moss.
How did you do that?
Do what?
You moved like they do. I've never seen anyone move that fast.
Canadian actress Carrie-Anne Moss shot to stardom overnight when she appeared as ass-kicking Trinity in The Matrix. She was one of the few stars to appear in all 3 films, and her cool demeanor and amazing moves drew attention in the first film and its follow-ups. Her career after the first Matrix film was a bit of a mixed bag. Although the next 2 movies in the series did very well financially, Moss had a hard time to find another sizable hit, but she kept working consistently. She popped up in Memento along with Joe Pantoliano, and also had a starring role in Red Planet. She took on a motherly role in Disturbia, and then offered her voice talents to the Mass Effect video games.
Omega has no titled ruler and only one rule.
She's had a presence on television often, starring in many episodes of Vegas, Chuck, and AMC's Humans. And Carrie also became part of the Marvel Universe when she was cast in Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and years later, The Defenders. Carrie hasn't been able to reach the heights of The Matrix in the years since the film debuted, but it's very hard to surpass such a huge hit and cultural touchstone. But she's consistently worked and will forever be beloved as Trinity by die-hard fans of the series. Number 2, Laurence Fishburne.
Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again.
Laurence Fishburne had been acting for years when he took on the role of Morpheus in the first Matrix film, and since then he's only become more famous and found more success in a number of massive hits. Even all these years later, Laurence is still one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Following the first Matrix film, Fishburne was cast in several other blockbusters like Mission Impossible 3 and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Following that, he spent years as the lead star in CSI, starring in that show until 2011. Around that time, he had a starring role as one of the many A-list stars in Steven Soderbergh's Contagion. The work just kept on coming for Laurence, who returned to TV for the beloved crime series Hannibal. He also played Perry White, editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, alongside Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. But that wasn't the end of his comic book movies. Laurence also appeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. Laurence would work with his Matrix co-star Keanu Reeves again too, offering his talents for John Wick 2, 3 and 4. And he also earned a ton of praises recently for starring in the television series Blackish for several years. Did you know that multiple other actors were considered for the part of Morpheus before Laurence Fishburne got the part? Yeah, actors like Gary Oldman, Samuel L. Jackson, and Val Kilmer were all considered. But we can't imagine anyone else playing this pivotal, classic part other than Laurence Fishburne. Is it his best role? Perhaps, but it's definitely just one of many that he's treated audiences to over the years.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Number 1, Keanu Reeves.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
Few cinematic heroes are as powerful, memorable, and flat-out amazing as Neo from The Matrix. He was like a mix of a ninja, secret agent, and a superhero all mixed into one. Obviously, the Wachowskis had to be sure they got the right man for the part, and they definitely did when they cast Keanu Reeves. As great as Keanu ended up being, he wasn't always guaranteed for the part. The 1980s and 90s were filled with a slew of action films with Keanu, and he was a little burned out in the genre. He didn't want to be typecast, and we can't blame him. But millions of people are very glad that Keanu decided to enter The Matrix. His career and movie history would never be the same again. All of the people who starred in this film, he's had the most successful career since. He is still one of the biggest stars in the world and has appeared in a number of massive hits. At the time, The Matrix was viewed as something of a career resurgence for Keanu. It certainly acted as an introduction to the actor for many, especially young people who didn't remember Bill and Ted and Point Break. The years after The Matrix were very good for Keanu, and they continue to be. One of his biggest hits after The Matrix was Constantine, the comic book movie about a man who's able to communicate with and battle demons and other creatures from the afterlife. That was just one of many A-list productions that Keanu became a part of after The Matrix. He starred in The Day the Earth Stood Still, Toy Story 4, and others. He has also tried movies that were completely different than The Matrix, like The Gift, for example, saw Keanu showing his range and trying something very unique and altogether new. The same was true for indie film Thumbsucker and the romantic comedy Something's Gotta Give. Reeves entered a brand new chapter when he took on the name John Wick.
You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
The John Wick movies proved to be hugely successful and spawned a brand new series that once again introduced Keanu to so many new people. The Wick films have become one of the most successful action franchises in modern Hollywood, and there is talk of more sequels being made. Keanu also had a starring role in a video game, Cyberpunk 2077. The game had a rocky launch but slowly became a well-received and popular hit, and Keanu's face was posted all over the advertisements for it.
We have a city to burn.
Keanu was one of the few people who came back for the most recent Matrix film. Today he's expected to star in a long-awaiting sequel for Constantine and a John Wick spin-off titled Ballerina. The 2 decades since the first Matrix film have been very good to Keanu, and the next 20 years might be just as good. Keanu is still one of the most beloved stars in the world and continues to perform in a mix of movies, from action to comedy and beyond.